Hello, my name is Debbie and I'm a volunteer for Crafting for Good. Today we're going to be making the advent calendar, which you can download the images from the Printable craft shop. Very cost effective, or you can buy the bundle if you don't want the individuals and if you want the whole set. Adele has put a special offer on. If you've already bought one of these and you do want to buy the bundle, you can actually go online and just pay the difference between the price you paid for the one set and the price for all of the sets. So if you do want to make this, we have the absolutely beautiful advent calendar. I have used the Ho 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 version just because I think this is adorable. You have the Santa on the one side and you have the reindeers on the other. You have drawers that you can pop out. Now if you do notice, I have filled mine already with little sweeties. I'll pop that back in. And you have 24 drawers that you can fill in with anything you fancy. Little sweeties, little gifts, little hair ties for girls, little cards for boys, anything you want to. It's a very sturdy structure. All goes together very easy. It does take, from once you've printed all of the items, it takes roughly about 2 hours to put everything together, and predominantly that is the gluing of the drawers and the sleeves. So we'll get started and I will show you how to make this. So what you're going to print off, so once you've purchased the download, you'll end up getting all of the files that you need, as well as a set of instructions as well that's actually part of the file. So you'll get two. You'll need to print out two of these, one base, one top. You print out 2 sheets of the toppers. So these are the side panels that go down the sides of the drawers. So you need to print this out twice. You then need to print out all 8 pages of the drawers. And what you will find is they will all have the numbers on. You'll have a little hole in the centre of each drawer next to Santa's face or the reindeer's face, depending on which drawer it is, where you can pop a brad through, pop a ribbon through, anything to act as the pulley for your drawer. What you would need to do is cut out all of these. There are 8 pages to print in total, giving you 16 small drawers. So this is the small drawer size. And you would need to cut out all of these, and I'll cut one out shortly and show you how to glue it all together. You then need to print 8 of the large drawers. So again, there are 8 separate sheets, all with different numbers on. So again, you have the little dot in the middle next to the reindeer's face or the Santa's face, where you can pop your brad through or pop your ribbon through, just to act as your drawer pull. Again, you would need to cut all of these out, score on the solid lines, and then we stick together. You need to print out as well drawer sleeves to go with this. So you would need to print out 8 pages of the drawer sleeve. So this is the thin drawer sleeves, and you'll need to print out 4 pages of the large drawer sleeve. So if you can see, the measurements between the first, the third and the fifth is the side fold of the drawers. That shows you the depth of the drawers. So you need to print out 8 of those and 4 of those, and they will then give you all of the things that you will need. So once you've printed out everything and scored, again, you score on all of the solid lines going across on the drawers and the sleeves. So once you've done that, we need to glue the sleeves. So this is one I've cut out and I've scored where it needs to be scored. So this is a small drawer. So as you can see, when I hold it together, it's quite narrow, so that will hold a small drawer. All I do to pop together, it's entirely up to you whether you use a wet glue or whether you use tape. Entirely your choice. My personal preference is a wet glue, just because it gives me that little bit of wiggle time to allow me to stick this together. So what I'm going to do is just put a good amount of wet glue on there. Now I am using Collel all-purpose glue, which you can purchase online. I generally get mine from Crafter's Companion, but any wet glue works perfectly. I just like this one because I have 2 minutes wiggle time. So if it's not quite right, if I need to move it, if I haven't lined it up properly, I've just got 2 minutes to move it, and I think, oh no, that's not lined up, and I can still move it. So it does grab immediately, but you've got 2 minutes just to maneuver everything together. Now, just to make this stick, I have some little mini pegs, which I'm sure Adele will put the link online for you to where to get mini pegs from. I just find these hold everything wonderfully, and it makes it stick nice and nice and sturdy. The good thing with the wet glue is it does generally seep into the fibres of the cardstock, so it makes it a lot solider and harder. Now you're going to do exactly the same with the drawers. So once you've cut out the drawers, you score on all of the solid lines and then just fold them all in. What we're going to do is literally fold them together to make a box. Now, as you can see on this one, what I've done is next to the Santa's head, I've poked a hole through with a pokey tool, or a needle if you don't have a pokey tool, and I've put a little brad through, and I've just opened the legs on the back of the brad, and then they are now going to be sealed inside when I glue that down. So that's the brad that's going to act as my pulley for the drawer. So what we're going to do with the box is we're going to glue these little end flaps inside these two panels. So that will then fold over and tuck the flaps inside. So when you glue it, these two end flaps fold over and we'll glue everything in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the glue on the two end flaps. Now again, because I've got 2 minutes wiggle time for this to dry, I'm going to do both flaps at the same time instead of just gluing one and then gluing the other. So my glue's on there. I'm literally going to push the little side pieces in and push the tabs in. I'm going to get my pegs ready to go, and I'm just going to fold that over. Now while I do this, what I tend to do is I just keep a little bit of pressure on the side. I don't know if you can see on these fingers. I keep a little bit of pressure on the side of here, which then just holds the drawer in place, and it holds the little tabs in as I then just press down nice and snugly on here. Make sure all the glue is pushed in, all the sides are pushed down, and all I'm going to do is just stick a couple of little pegs across the top just to make sure it stays nice and stuck. I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to do exactly the same on this end. So again, just using my finger and my thumb, I'm going to push the sides in, and as I push in, I just gently fold the flap over and then give it a nice firm rub to make sure it's stuck down completely. And again, just going to pop my pegs on to make sure it holds it in place while the glue dries. It does only take 2 minutes to dry, so once it's pressed down and you're clipping it together by any means you choose to, as I said, I like the little pegs, that will then sit and dry. If you don't like the wet glue, you can always use double-sided tape. The red liner tape is wonderful for things like this because it's the strongest tape out there, so it will stay nice and stuck for you. The downside with tape is once you've actually put the card down and literally touch the tape, it does stick straight away, which is why I like the wet glue. So it just gives me that little bit of time if I need to manoeuvre it a little bit. So once you've made your drawers and you've cut out a top and a bottom panel of these, so you need 2 of these, what you're going to do is you're actually going to stack your drawers together. So here's some I've already made, and what I've done is, this is the large drawer at the bottom, I've made the sleeve, I've made the drawer, and that sits inside there. And all I've done, I've colour coordinated, so I have green, red, a green will go on there and a red will go on top, and I have 2 large ones in each stack and 4 small ones in each stack. And what you do is you glue them all together. Now this is the bottom, so for the bottom one you turn it over so the pretty paper is on the reverse and the white paper is on the top. What we're then going to do is we're actually going to glue all 4 stacks, so when you've made your 24 drawers and sleeves up, you're going to put 8 in a stack. I've gone for 2 large, 4 small in each stack and colour coordinated, so alternated the colours. What you're then going to do is glue the bottom of the last drawer down facing away. I'm then going to get the next stack and face the opposite way. So I'm doing it and turning the drawers round each time. So the drawers then will come out on each side as you rotate. Now I have made one slightly earlier, so I'm sure you don't want to watch me just sticking glue on sleeves and boxes. So I've done the 3 corners, and what I've done is I stuck the drawers to the base, and I have 1 drawer facing out that way, 1 drawer facing that way, 1 drawer facing that way, and then the last drawer will go in there. And as you can see, I've alternated, that starts at red, green, red, green, red, green, and my 2 large drawers. I've done green, red, green, red, green, red, and again I've moved the position of my 2 large drawers, and again on the 3rd corner. So the 4th corner we're actually going to stick there. So I have the 4 I've already glued together. I have another large drawer there, but I want a green one in the middle because I have 2 colours with red on the bottom, and I want 2 with green on the bottom. So that will be my bottom drawer. The drawer we've just made, this is the sleeve. Now it's had a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to take the pegs off, and that's ready to go on there. Exactly the same with the sleeve and the drawer. They both had a couple of minutes to dry. And what we're now going to do is pop the drawer in the sleeve. I tend to do this because it just gives the sleeve a little bit more firmness because it's got something inside. Now, I choose the left hand edge as my lining up edge just because I'm left-handed and I find it easier. So I'm going to put the glue on the bottom of the sleeve, and I like to give a good amount on there. And I'm going to then just line it up at the front and line it up at the side just to make sure it lines up so it's nice and flush against there. And we're just going to press down, making sure I don't overlap at the front, and again takes 2 minutes to dry. Now the last drawer is the large drawer in this set, so once I've actually got it stuck together you'll find it's much easier to manoeuvre the drawer. So that's the large one, and what we're going to do again is just stick it on the top of there. So glue on the bottom, lovely amount of glue on there. We don't want it coming apart because this is something I'd like to use year after year. Now again, I line up, so when I put it down I just run my fingers along to make sure it sticks nice and firm. Now I can see Adele is putting the links to the wooden pegs online, so as you can see in the comment section there is the links there, and also the link to the printable advent calendars online. They are absolutely gorgeous. They are such a nice project to make, and it's something that you can keep year after year and be proud of. So I've now stuck my tower of drawers together, and what I'm now going to do is stick in the last section. So I have my 3 sections. So what I'm going to do is plenty of glue on the very, very bottom. So on the very bottom sleeve of the stack, plenty of glue. Now I might just need to turn this away from the camera a little bit just so I can see what I'm doing, and I want this facing outwards. So I'm simply going to line them all up, push it in, and then I'm just going to press and hold just for a little few seconds, just a second or two, just to make sure it's going to stick. Now at the moment it's a little bit movable, so we've got the bottom on here, we need to put the top on here. The top on here is what it's going to keep it sturdy and stop it moving. What we also need to do is cover this white edge. So what we're going to do, those side panels that we printed out, this is then what sticks to the side. So this is what's going to give you the gorgeous finish at the side, so you don't see the white panels. So I'm just going to pop that on now before I glue the top on. If you do have any questions or anything as we're going along, Adele is live with me, so she can be answering any questions. If you pop them in the comments or anything on the screen as we're watching this, Adele will then answer any questions as we go along for you. So I'm just going to line that up. I'm just going to turn that towards me a little bit just so I can see it better. What I don't want it to do is overlap my other drawers. So I don't want it to overlap and stop them coming out, but also I don't want to see the white. So I just want to give that a nice rub, get all the glue sticking it together, and then I'm just going to make sure nothing overlaps and everything works perfectly. Brilliant. So all we now need to do is stick the top layer on. So our second one of these that we've printed out, what we're going to do is we're actually going to stick that on the top of there. That then is actually the last thing we need to do. Your advent calendar is then finished. So we've rushed through quite a lot, and I've prepped a lot in advance for you, because once you've seen me put together one sleeve and one drawer, I don't really think you want to sit there and watch me put another 23 together and wait for them to dry. So I've skipped that part for you. So gluing this on the top. Thank you, Joan, for joining us, Joan Foster. I can just see a little name pop up on my screen for me. So just sticking this on, and I'm just making sure it all lines up. Now when you do this bit, what you may need to do is just literally hold the four corners in together as you press down on the top, just to make sure everything stays in place. Once it's dried, and it won't take long to dry, it will then be nice and solid and firm. What you could do if you wanted to is turn it upside down to put the pressure on the top, and then you don't have to worry about holding everything in place. But I'm just doing this while it dries. So I'm flipping it back over, making sure I've got no white bits showing on the top. Again, the good thing with this glue, I do have that 2 minutes wiggle time to make sure I can manoeuvre it back. So just making it stick, just holding it tight. That is our advent calendar. Now there are a different type of advent calendar on there, which is the cube type. You make it up in exactly the same way. So you have the drawers and you have the sleeves, and you make them up. I will post a sneak peek on there in the next few days, just to show you how that is. I did do one a couple of days ago, so if you have a look back a couple of days, you'll see one on there where I showed you the alternative version. Now the good thing about this, these make absolutely gorgeous toppers, and because you've bought the download, you can print out as many of these as you would like. You can cut into them and decoupage them up, so you can actually make them into cards and toppers. You can use the little drawer fronts as tags. So if you didn't want the number on there, you could hole punch through where the number's going to be, pop a big ribbon on there and attach that to the parcel. So you've got little gift tags out of the drawer fronts, and you've got your little toppers or your card toppers or your tags if you wanted to, with your little character. So you have the reindeer and you have the Santa. You also get the backing paper on this, so if you choose to make an alternative product other than the printable advent calendar, you can then make another project should you choose to. You've got a lot of inspiration on the website for Crafting for Good at the Printable Craft Shop, and there's a lot of things on there. This is your advent calendar. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with you again next week, where we're going to be doing pop-up box cards, which again I'll do sneak peeks for you. Thank you for watching. I'm Debbie Roberts, and I'm a volunteer for Crafting for Good. Thank you very much. Bye bye.